Talmud Bavli Tractate Beitzah, page 20b. Actually, the bottom of 20a is we're in the middle of a story, very interesting story about Bisham and Beis Hillel, and a disagreement about laying hands on the animal on Yom Tov. So, just the bottom last line, it says on that day when the incident. Okay, so all right. So the sages taught in a Beitzah there was an incident involving Hillel the elder, who brought his burnt offering to the temple courtyard in order to place his hands on the animal's head on the festival. And the students of Shammai the elder. Okay, so it was a burnt offering, and then I think they disagreed whether. I think Hillel says that you could place the hands on the head of the animal on festival, and Shammai said no. And so he wanted to bring a burnt offering, and the students of Shammai the elder gathered around him and said to him, "What is the nature of this animal that you're bringing?" He'll, being humble and meek, he did not want to quarrel with them in the temple, and therefore concealed the truth from them for the sake of peace. He said to them, "It is a female, and I have brought it as a peace offering." As burnt offerings are always male. So I don't understand why. I don't understand it. He said he brought a burnt offering. But a burnt offering has to always be male. So how is it that it's a female? That doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, he swung its tail over them so they would see that it's a female or male, and they departed. So I guess it was a female, but then how could it say that he was offering a Ola if it's a female? Okay, anyway. On that day, when the incident became known, suggesting that even Hillel had accepted Shammai's view, Beit Shammai gained the upper hand over Beit Hillel, and they sought to establish the halacha in this regard in accordance with their opinion. But a certain elder of the disciples of Shammai was there, and Bava ben Beitzah was his name, who knew that the halacha was in accordance with the opinion of Beit Hillel in this matter. And he sent for, okay, now we're on 20b on the top. He sent for and brought all the high quality sheep of Kedar that were in Jerusalem, and he stood them in the temple courtyard and said, "Anyone who wishes to place his hands on the head of an animal should come and place his hands here." And on that day, Beit Hillel gained the upper hand over Beit Shammai, and they established the halacha in this case in accordance with their opinion. And there was no one there who disputed the matter in any way. And sometime later, and by the way, this is just a side point, I heard that this is the first machlokas between Beit Shammai and Beis Hillel. The first recorded machlokas between Beit Shammai and Beis Hillel was whether to place, you can do smicha on Yom Tov. Very interesting. Okay, so anyway, and sometime later, there was another incident involving a certain disciple from among the disciples of Beit Hillel, who brought his burnt offering to the temple courtyard in order to place his hands on the animal's head on a festival. A certain disciple from among the disciples of Beit Shammai found him and said to him, "What is this placing of hands? Why do you place your hands on the animal's head and thereby violate the statement of Beit Shammai?" He said to him, "What is this silence? Why do you not stay silent?" As the halacha was not established in accordance with their opinion. He silenced him with a rebuke, and he, Beit Shammai's disciple, departed quickly. Abaye said, "Therefore it is clear from here that a Torah scholar whose colleague says something reprimanding or insulting to him should not answer back with something more than his colleague has said to him, to avoid adding fuel to the fire. As in the above story, the one said to the other, 'What is this placing of hands?' and the latter responded to the former using the same language. What is this silence? Okay. With regard to the dispute concerning the sacrifice of burnt offerings of appearance on a festival, it is taught in a bride to Beit Hillel said to Beit Shammai, just as in a place where it is prohibited to slaughter for the sake of a common person, for example, on Shabbat it is permitted to slaughter offerings in the temple for the Most High, such as the daily and additional offerings, then so too with regard to a place where it is permitted to slaughter for the sake of the common person. For example, on a festival, is it not right that it should be permitted for the sake of the Most High? This argument should include burnt offerings of appearance as well. Beit Shammai said to them, this is no proof. Vow offerings and gift offerings prove that this reasoning is not valid, as it is permitted to slaughter an animal on a festival for a common person to eat, but it is prohibited to slaughter vow offerings and gift offerings on a festival for the sake of the Most High. Beit Hillel said to them, if vow offerings and guilt offerings may not be slaughtered on a festival, that is because they do not have a fixed time, and there is no obligation to sacrifice them on a festival in particular. But how can you say the same with regard to a burnt offering of appearance, which has a fixed time, the festival itself? Beit Shammai said to them, it too has no fixed time, as we learned in the Mishnah. One who did not bring his festival offering on the first festival day of Sukkot may bring it throughout the entire festival, including the last festival day of Sukkot, on the 8th day of assembly, as that day is regarded as part of Sukkot for this purpose. This shows that a burnt offering of appearance need not be brought at a fixed time on the festival either. Beit Hillel said to them, although a burnt offering of appearance need not be sacrificed on a particular day of the festival, nevertheless, it too has a fixed time, albeit a lengthier one, meaning the whole 8 days. Its fixed time is the whole Sukkot. As we learned in the Mishnah, if the entire festival passed, and he did not bring his festival offering, he is not accountable for it. That is to say, he is not required to bring another offering, as the mitzvah has already passed. Oh! This is a real spar back and forth. This indicates that the offering is limited specifically to the festival days, unlike vow offerings and gift offerings, which may be brought at any time. Beit Shammai said to Beit Hillel in support of their position, but wasn't it already stated in the verse, only that which every soul must eat, that alone must be done for you, Exodus 12:16, which indicates that for you may food be prepared, but not for the Most High. Beit Hillel said to them, but wasn't it already stated in the verse, you shall observe it as a festival to the Lord, Leviticus 23:41, which teaches, anything sacrificed to the Lord may be sacrificed. If so, what is the meaning of the verse that states for you? It means for you, but not for Gentiles, for you, but not for dogs. I'm just reading it here. Anyway, Abba Shaul stated the same disagreement in a different formulation. Beit Hillel said to Beit Shammai as follows, just as in a place where your stove is closed, for example on Shabbat, when a person may not cook for himself, your master's stove is open, as is permitted to light a fire on the altar and sacrifice offerings upon it. So too, in a place where your stove is open, or as on a festival when one may cook food that he will eat, is it not right that your master's stove should be open And likewise stands to reason that your table should not be full, while your master's table, the altar, remains empty. The Gemara asks, with regard to what do the Tana and the first Beitzah and Abba Shaul disagree in their different versions of Beit Hillel's statement? The Gemara explains, one sage, Abba Shaul, holds that according to Beit Hillel, even vow offerings and gift offerings may be sacrificed on a festival, and therefore Beit Shammai could not cite as proof the fact that they may not be sacrificed, as they claim in the first Beitzah. And one sage, the Tana of the first Beitzah, holds that according to Beit Hillel, vow offerings and gift offerings may not be sacrificed on a festival, and therefore Beit Shammai could adduce this halacha in support of their opinion. Rav Huna said, according to the statement of the one who says that vow offerings and gift offerings may not be sacrificed on a festival, you should not say that by Torah law they are in fact fit to be sacrificed, and that it was the sages who issued a decree about them that they should not be sacrificed on a festival as a preventive measure, lest one delay sacrificing them until the festival, when it is more convenient for him to bring them to the temple, and thereby transgress the prohibition against delaying the fulfillment of one's pledge. This is not the reason. Rather, according to this opinion, they are not fit to be sacrificed on a festival, even by Torah law, as the 2 loaves brought on the festival of Shavuot are an obligation of that day, and there is no reason to issue a decree about them, lest one come to delay their offerings, since they may be brought only on that festival. And yet baking and preparation override neither Shabbat nor the festival. According to this view, anything that need not be performed on the festival itself may not be done on the festival. A dilemma was raised before the sages, according to the statement of one who says that vow offerings and gift offerings may not be sacrificed on the festival. If one transgressed and slaughtered those vow offerings and gift offerings on the festival, what is the halacha? Rava said he sprinkles the blood of these offerings on the altar in order to allow the meat to be eaten on the festival. Rabba bar Rav Huna, however, said he sprinkles the blood in order to burn the sacrificial parts of the animal, including the fats and the other portions that are brought upon the altar in the evening. The Gemara asks, what is the practical difference between the opinion of Rava and that of Rabba bar of Huna, since both agree that the blood is sprinkled? The Gemara answers, there is a practical difference between them in a case where the meat became ritually impure or was lost. According to Rava, who holds that the blood is sprinkled in order to permit the meat to be eaten by rabbinic decree, one may not sprinkle the blood, as this sprinkling is not required for the festival. On the other hand, according to Rabba bar of Huna, who holds that the blood is sprinkled in order to burn the sacrificial parts upon the altar in the evening, he does sprinkle the blood, even though it does not enable him to eat the meat. The Gemara raises an objection to the opinion of Rabba bar of Huna from the following Beitzah. With regard to the lambs of Shavuot, In other words, the 2 lambs sacrificed as peace offerings that accompany the 2 loaves of bread brought on that festival, if one slaughtered them not for their own purpose, in other words, at the time of slaughter, his intent was to slaughter them as a different offering, or if he slaughtered them not at their proper time, whether before their time or after their time, the offerings themselves are valid, although the community has not fulfilled its obligation. What is to be done with them? The blood should be sprinkled, and the meat should be eaten. And if the day he slaughtered the lambs with Shabbat, on which cooking or roasting the meat is prohibited, then, since the sprinkling of the blood serves no purpose, neither with regard to their mitzvah, nor for any other matter, he may not sprinkle the blood. And if nevertheless he sprinkled the blood,